Welcome to Football Scientific. I'm Aaron Sauter, professor of football science. I'm a writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com, CFLNewsHub.com, and UFLNewsHub.com. And I'm a creator on TikTok under Football Scientific, where you can see some football notes and some coaching aspects and some singing by me, okay? It's a great time for everyone. Today we're just going to run through the updated business in the NFL, CFL, and UFL. There's been a lot going on the last few days. I've been working on articles versus making videos. I'm going to catch up everything right now, and we can move forward from there, okay? Right now I'm joined with my guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger here, ready to go. So a lot of news in the NFL with coaching changes and stuff. And the UFL is getting ramped up, getting ready for training camp. And the CFL, they're getting ready for free agency, you know? Yes, I'm aware. That's good. That's good that you're aware, Professor, because that's what your job is. Your job is to keep track of all this information and analyze it and figure out the meaning of it all. So when it gets to the UFL season, we can pick all the winners, right? Right. That's the plan. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. What about that IFL or NAL? Anything with that yet? It's kind of quiet right now. They get started with training camp in the near future, though, especially the NAL, because they start playing at the end of February. It's almost February. It is almost February. That's right. Dang. Okay. Well, I guess let's get this one done. Let's break it down. Break it down. Break it down. Break it down. Let's break it down like Tyler the Tiger said. Here we go. Okay, first in the NFL. Pittsburgh Steelers. They have interviewed, they hired Mike McCarthy as their head coach. Okay, I don't know if you know that. It's on TikTok. I put it on TikTok. But Cowboys tight end coach Linda Wells is expected to interview for the Steelers OC job to go with Mike McCarthy. Now, Mike McCarthy was the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, so that's not unexpected. Baltimore Ravens, they're expected to work with former Falcons run game coordinator and outside linebackers coach, or offensive line coach, so run game coordinator on the offense, and offensive line coach Dwayne Ledford for the same job for them. Las Vegas Raiders, they have requested a second interview with former Giants head coach Brian Dable of their head coaching job. Buffalo Bills have hired offense coordinator Joe Brady as their head coach. So they knew I have a head coach. They didn't pick Phillip Rivers, luckily. I made a list of the top 5 candidates I'd like to see at Buffalo, and Joe Brady was number 2. So I guess that's pretty good. Okay, you don't get your top, you don't get Mike Tomlin, but they got number 2, Joe Brady. Now let's see if he can help fix that defense. I heard he's looking for a defensive coordinator already, which is nice. Okay, that's where you got to fix this thing. The offense is good, and we got Joe Brady still, so let's fix this defense now. He has a 5-year deal. He won't get all 5 years though if he loses. This mental note. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Atlanta Falcons, they have requested a second interview with Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham for their GM job. Tennessee Titans are now set to hire, so Brian Dable's off the table for the Raiders. Maybe. There's a side note here. So the Tennessee Titans are set to hire Brian Dable as their offensive coordinator to go with Robert Saleh. They were both in New York at the same time. Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets. Brian Dable, head coach of the Giants. And now Robert Saleh, head coach of the Titans. And it looks like he's going to bring Brian Dable to be the OC for the Titans. But here's one caveat. Brian Dable is a candidate still for the Las Vegas Raiders job. So that's his one job that he gets an out on. So if he's a Titans offense coordinator, unless he becomes the Las Vegas Raiders head coach. So that should pan out in the next few days. Boom. New York Jets are parting ways with offense coordinator Tanner Enstrand. Boom, they're horrible on offense and defense. Aaron Glenn's firing everyone trying to start over there because it did not go well this last season for the Jets. He's the next one to get fired, so he's dumping all those coordinators real quick. So that's what you do the year before you get fired. You dump all your coordinators. Okay, that's how this business works, man. Buffalo Bills. They are looking at the passing game defensive passing game coordinator of the Broncos to be their next DC. I didn't put his name down. I guess it's not important until they hire him. Jacksonville Jaguars They have decided to, everyone's going to stay in Jacksonville. Offense guard Grant Udinski and defense guard Anthony Campanile will stay with the team for 2026. They kind of, shopped around looking for different jobs. Bill Belichick, some news here, was not a first ballot Hall of Famer according to the the Hall of Fame voters. A lot of people were upset about that yesterday. He has 8 Super Bowl wins. That wasn't enough to be a first round Hall of Famer because he made some people mad along the way. You can't make people mad and hope to get picked to be someone's favorite, That's just how it works. Denver Broncos have fired offensive guard Joe Lombardi today. I believe I have more on that. Let's see. Pittsburgh Steelers, they've offered Mike McCarthy the head coaching job. I mentioned that already. Let's see. Yes, Denver Broncos, they fired Joe Lombardi. They also fired wide receiver coach Kenny Colbert. They also fired cornerback coach Addison whatever. Okay. New York Jets will interview Lunda Wills for the next OC position as well. So if he doesn't get to Pittsburgh, he might get the Jets. That would be a pretty big step down, honestly. Okay. Let's see, anything else there? Yeah, so in the UFL, a few things happened. Houston Roughnecks edge rusher Jameer Jones, who had been drafted again by the Houston Gamblers, is done. He's out. He said he's retiring from football. Dallas Renegades, they hired former UFL defensive back to be their quality control assistant, Ryan Lewis. Okay, got it. Not the guy who sings with, what's his name? The rapper guy, Macklemore. Okay, in the UFL, a bunch of roster changes the last 3 days. I've been writing about on UFLNewsHub.com. You can keep it Orlando Storm roster changes on UFLNewsHub.com. A little quicker than the videos right now. It used to be the videos were quicker than the articles, but it's been more plentiful writing. Boom. First release from the roster, Birmingham Stallions. 2 days ago, released quarterback Jaron Hall. And then they signed tight end Tyler Davis. So I guess they needed a tight end worse than that quarterback. Columbus Aviators signed cornerback Michael Lawson and cornerback Smoke Monday. Okay. And Dallas Renegades, they signed defensive end Tayshawn Bauer. Houston Gamblers, they signed offensive tackle John Campbell Jr., offensive tackle Ted Caskey, defense tackle Fatorma Mulba. So they're building up their defensive line in Houston. Orlando Storm, I wrote an article about this yesterday. They signed Connor Fox to basically finish off their 64-man training camp roster. They should be good to go. St. Louis Battlehawks, they signed tight end James Bostic III because the other tight end retired. They signed defensive end Chris Hardy and offensive tackle Tyler Newby. That was 2 days ago, and I wrote an article about that 2 days ago. But then today, what happened? Well, Dallas Renegades, they've hired a linebackers coach, okay, and then Tim Huntley as a linebackers coach. And then Columbus Aviators released yesterday wide receiver Landon Parker. Houston Gamblers released defensive end Seth Coleman. Louisville Kings released defensive end Jameer Jones because he retired, and tight end Irv Smith. And St. Louis Battlehawks, they released cornerback Miles Jones and middle linebacker Mike Rose, who's a longtime player for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Okay, 3 years. I mean, long time. 3 years. And then some people got signed yesterday in the UFL. Columbus Aviators signed defensive tackle Paris Shand. Dallas Renegades signed quarterback Luke Lennon, who played for North Central, Division III North Central, won a couple national championships there. DC Defenders, defensive tackle Joe Wallace was signed. Louisville Kings signed wide receiver Carter Bell. And St. Louis Battlehawks, they signed outside linebacker Michael Barrett. And they signed offensive tackle Ilm Manning and linebacker Daniel Manning. Okay, the line was the Mannings, man. Manning. Okay, and then in the CFL, I wrote an article about this yesterday. Hamilton Tiger-Cats signed 2 players, Shane Watts, who they had signed previously. They signed in mid-season last year. He ended up leaving them. He spent some time with the New England Patriots, which is pretty cool. He's back with the Tiger-Cats trying to make the roster this time around and stay with the roster, I believe. And then they also re-signed third-string backup quarterback Harrison Frost. So he's going to stay there for another season. They got all their quarterbacks back to support Bo Levi Mitchell, which is probably a good idea. Okay, BC Lions extend quarterback Nathan Rourke. Nathan Rourke, boom, for 2 seasons. So he's getting long-term success in BC. They're keeping him for 2 more years. He's getting paid. Ottawa Red Blacks released American wide receiver Devontae Dedman. He's done. Apparently, they signed American defensive lineman Josh Piercy. Winnipeg Blue Bombers signed American linebacker Mike Smith Jr., and they signed American linebacker Kyrie Wilson. So they're loading up at linebacker. Saskatchewan Roughriders signed national defense back Nelson Lacombo, and Edmonton Elks signed American wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Not that Keyshawn Johnson, not the one on used to be on ESPN. Toronto Argonauts signed American defensive back James Caesar, and they signed national offensive line Dakota Shepley. So that's all the recent news in the NFL, CFL, and UFL. Good times for everyone. And that's it. We're going to hit some TikToks up. We're going to make some videos over there. Check it out. Things will be kind of boring here until we get Super Bowl week here in the NFL and stuff. We'll keep hitting the CFL and UFL. We'll be looking ahead to the NAL and IFL. Thanks for joining us. We got 194 subscribers. We keep building up. Okay, we keep building up. That's good. Keep liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel, and make sure, above all else, check out FootballAnalysisOne.com, boop, CFLNewsHub.com, boop, UFLNewsHub.com. Boop. It doesn't cost you anything to read those articles, to look at the articles, to click through the articles, and like them. And that gets me paid more. So I like that, okay? So make sure you do that for me. And that is Football Scientific for today on YouTube. We're closing the Scientific portal now. Boop, boop, boop.